name is Noel Leader. I'm one of the co-founder members of 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care. I'm here along with other members of the organization. And as an organization comprises of black law enforcement officials throughout the state, we're here to state our outrage over the unwillingness of the district attorney and the New York City Police Department investigators to get an indictment in the shooting of a black officer, Omar Edwards, who was shot in the back after taking police action. We believe that an indictment should have been had in this case. There's a whole lot of questions we have as it relates to the presentation to the grand jury made by the district attorney. We would like those minutes to be made public because as former investigators and as members of the New York City Police Department, we know that the district attorney and the system where it is stated that the grand jury can indict a ham sandwich can get an indictment when they really want an indictment. One of the questions that we have relates to the numerous cameras that are in the area. There's a New York City Police Department camera on the northwest corner of 125th Street and 2nd Avenue. There's also cameras on 126th Street by the bus terminal. We understand that there's Viper cameras in the housing development behind us. There's also cameras on the Triborough Bridge. No mention was made whether or not those cameras captured any of the incidents that occurred when Officer Omar Edwards was shot in the back while taking police action. So we're extremely disappointed. We call for the governor to appoint a special prosecutor because in history past, we are suspicious of the incestuous relationship between the district attorney's office and the New York City Police Department in conducting fair and impartial investigations where there's a likelihood that a member of the New York City Police Department acted inappropriately. So we're calling Governor David Paterson, who when he was Senator Paterson, agreed with the community's call for a special prosecutor in these controversial police abuse cases. So we're calling on him to appoint a special prosecutor immediately. If he fails to do that, we want him to know that we will call on members of our community not to support any consideration he may have to run for governor in 2010. If he will not support us and our call, we will not support him. Once again, we are outraged and we are clear that because of the incestuous relationship between the Manhattan District Attorney and the New York Police Department, the DA's office who relies on New York City police officers to investigate for them, we find that we need an independent investigator with independent prosecutor with independent investigators to handle these kind of cases. Right. Well, one of the things that we know, our organization is aware of the historical problem of black plainclothes officers being shot in the back by white officers. This has never in the history of the New York City Police Department happened in reverse. So at the core of this shooting is the racial element, which the police commissioner and the mayor refuses to agree, to believe that race played a role in this particular shooting. You cannot have a resolution to these type of shootings until and unless you acknowledge the role that race plays. There's never been a plainclothes white officer shot by a black police officer, so we know that race played a role in this particular shooting. Back to your question, far often than not, black men with a gun in the eyes of law enforcement officers equal criminal. There are many DEA officers, there are many black police officers, there are many correction officers, there are many law enforcement officers in the city of New York, as well as licensed civilians who have a license to carry a weapon. This police officer, the mere fact that he shot him in the back is problematic for us. He could have taken a few more instances to approach this particular situation where there should not have been a fatality. There's been 3 instances in the recent past where 3 black police officers were shot in the back by white police officers. And the 3 instances where the black police officers survived. We have the Dexter Brown case, who was a sergeant in the Brooklyn, We have the Desmond Robinson case, who was shot in the subway. We have the Durham Purnell case. He's a black officer who's also shot in the back. In all three instances where the black officer survived, he said that he never heard the white officer say, "Police don't move." And we find it peculiar that in the cases where the black officers have survived being shot in the back by white police officers, all of them said they never heard the white police officer say, "Police don't move." All they felt was themselves being shot, and they heard rounds. So we're suspicious of the rumors that this warning was given. So the officer could have taken a couple of seconds, we believe, more to validate that this wasn't a criminal, this is a police officer doing his lawful duty. One of the things that we repeatedly hear in similar cases of police abuse is training, commission, report, study. You can never argue against training, but training is not the cause of this particular incident. One of the things that they fail to realize is the role that race plays in these type of incidents. We have a long history of black police officers being shot and killed while taking police duty. Overwhelming majority of times, these black police officers are shot in the back by white police officers. So training, if he wants to have additional training, fine. But that's not the issue in this particular shooting. The role that race has played is something that the police commissioner and the mayor refuse to acknowledge. And unless you address that issue, then this is going to happen again. Just like other mishaps and inappropriate behavior by police officers, one of the primary ways to modify that, to stop that from happening, is officers have to be indicted, prosecuted, convicted, and sentenced.
We're here today because the Manhattan District Attorney's Office was incapable of getting an indictment in the Omar Edwards case. Unfortunately, we understand that the police department, and it's unfortunate the police department, cannot police itself. What the masses of people aren't familiar with is that when there's an investigation by the District Attorney's Office, the investigation is actually conducted by the New York City Police Department, and the information is given to the DA's office. So we understand that the police department is incapable of investigating itself and coming up with a true bill, in this case, for an indictment. So we demand that Governor Patterson put or instates a special prosecutor in this police case and police cases that are questionable when we talk about the shooting of unarmed black males, black police officers. So unless we have a separate entity to come in and ensure that there's a fair and impartial investigation and prosecution in these cases, we will not be satisfied, and we will continue to end up with conclusions such as this.
Now procedurally, what did the officer do or not do correctly that ended into this so-called friendly fire? I mean, wasn't there certain rules that he should have followed before?
Right, well, we can base this or only base this on information that we receive from the police department and via the media. We have a male who's armed in pursuit of another male. There was no immediate threat against the police officer. There seemed to be no immediate threat against any other members of the community. The police officer should have taken cover. He should have yelled, "Police don't move." If the officer did not adhere to the demands of the police officer, then the police officer should have called for backup immediately and secured the area where the male that he was pursuing was fleeing from or to. But there was no immediate reason, no imminent threat of danger to the police officer or anyone else that caused the police officer to immediately fire at that officer.